Hey, sweet peaches. Happy Friday. How are you? I'm over here putting together my new chair.
catlovedreamingpeach.com.
As I said, the chair that I have over there, let me turn that down. Whoop, not so far. The arm broke and it just could not get it to work. Now what do I do with that thing? The Allen wrench. So I'm putting it together. I've got my instructions. And I really wanted to pop on because I wanted to talk more about the whole Charlie Kirk death, murder, and my thoughts now that it's been a day or two and I had my initial video that I put out, and I noticed somebody unfollowed me because of that video. Bye, motherfucker. There's a few things I wanted to address. So, I am vegan. I'm a pacifist. I'm a nonviolent person. I believe that violence is most of the time not the answer. And there is this false narrative. I'm going to say it's false because it's hokey. It sounds good, but it's also bullshit. And it also fails to acknowledge the reality of life. And many people say violence is never the answer. It's never the answer. I am Buddhist. That is what I practice and believe in. And Buddhism teaches ahimsa, which is a vow that I've taken, a vow to do no harm and to always do good. So I thought, I'll make a video. I really want to make this chair. I've had it for a couple days now, but I just felt like shit yesterday. So I just didn't have the energy to fucking make it. And Beauty in Black 2 is out, and I want to watch that, but I didn't want to, I want to be able to watch. Anyway, I thought I'd make this video while I try to put this chair together, so it'll be kind of distracted. So, the fact is that I like to speak the truth. I like to be honest. And I realize that my truth might not be somebody else's truth. Now I'm hot pink. Okay, I got distracted. I am here to continue with the chair. So what I was saying was, the thing I think is that I didn't do this shit. I wasn't the one who did the thing. I would never do that. I would never do that thing. Let's see, I need pee. Let's see what I need, some pee, okay? And let's see over here. We got this thingy here. See, I'm vegan. First and foremost, because I can feel the vibration of animals. And ever since I was little, a piece of what people call meat, to me, looks like a piece of a corpse. It literally, I see flesh. I see a dead body. To me, I see friend, not food. I see a creature that is not really different than a human. It just has a different body. And I've always been like that ever since I was little, which is why I never liked meat. My parents forced me to eat it because they believed it was good for you. And I would often throw it away. Let's see if I can make myself less pink. Okay, that's very bright. Anyway, sorry, I'm distracted in this video. So, when I was in my early 20s, maybe actually my teens, I started learning about Buddhism, learning about meditation, learning about the all-oneness. And as I said, I am a pacifist. I don't eat animals because I don't want them to suffer. I don't wear leather, although I think I did just buy a pair of slippers that might not be 100% vegan, and that's like the first time in years, and that is not even 100% sure. A lot of times the suede things are actually synthetic, and I'm thinking that's what it is. Anyway, my point is, I don't believe in violence as an answer. What I said in the beginning is that the concept that violence is never the answer is false. Sometimes it's self-defense. It is about self-defense. In those moments of self-defense, violence is the answer if it's the only way. Now, what happened to Charlie Kirk was not self-defense. It was murder. It was wrong in the sense that that was the wrong thing to do. The man was not harming anyone physically. Now, saying, I don't believe it's right to shoot people and kill them unless it's in self-defense, and of course those are, extreme situations, and I don't believe in the death penalty because I believe that killing is wrong. And I think it's hypocritical to say killing is wrong, but we're going to kill you. Okay, so now I have to attach this to this for the ottoman part of the chair. And from the things that I've learned about the death penalty, they take so long, and it seems as if the people who end up hurt are the victims who are left behind, the families and loved ones. They end up suffering more when it's a death penalty case because it takes so long to resolve, and then they have to relive it again and again, and often they just end up dying naturally because it can take over 30 years. And that the press can continue to hound the families, like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen today? And going on and on for years. So, also the cost is extremely expensive, and there's all these questions. I mean, there was a guy who, I think he did die recently. He was put to death, and he had like a pacemaker, and they were saying that the pacemaker is gonna react somehow to something, and it's gonna make him suffer more. And they were trying to delay it, and then they were trying to figure out, does it matter if he suffers a little bit more right before he dies for 2 seconds? Because he's fucking gonna be, we're literally killing him. But now you're like, well, he's gonna suffer. And I think ultimately they decided, fuck it, let's just kill him. And they killed him. And they were like, it doesn't matter because he's gonna be dead. I'm sure it's a lot more nuanced and complex than that. Let's see if I lift this up. I don't know if I'll be able to do it right if it's lifted up. And so my point is that I'm not in any way promoting violence. There's a huge difference between saying you're promoting something versus acknowledging that a thing exists in reality, and sometimes it's the only way a thing can get solved. So when people say violence is never the answer, I find it to be trite and bullshit, because it's Pollyanna crap that's not acknowledging the reality of life. That sometimes self-defense is a thing. Sometimes violence is the only answer. You're being attacked. It's like, what is Ukraine supposed to do? Just sit there and do like sit-ins? Are they seriously supposed to just sit there and passively allow themselves to be murdered? What about Palestinians? See, there's so much hatred in the world against them for fighting back, for being bombed and murdered for the last 70 some fucking years. But no, you know, it's their fault. They're wrong because they want peace. And like, my point is that to say claiming that violence is never the answer often overlooks the reason the violence exists. The claim that violence is never the answer means that you are not acknowledging the reality for many people who have literally had to fight for their life to survive. And that you're attacked by someone else, you can't always just sit there silently, passively, because you will be murdered. So now, is that what, am I applying that logic to Charlie Kirk's shooter? I am not. What I'm talking about is, let's be honest in how, well, I want to be honest. Again, that's what I was saying a bit ago, that, you know what, for somebody else, what I'm saying is not the truth. It's the opposite of the truth. You'll unfollow me or you won't subscribe, you know, because you're like, I don't agree with that at all. And, you know, I think the whole violence is never an answer. Violence is, you know, there's never a place for violence. Those are the same people who say, I don't see color. I don't care if you're white, black, purple, or orange, right? They always have to throw that in. I don't see color. Oh, yeah? So you also don't notice the systemic racism of this world that we live in and how much people have suffered? Because if you don't see color, then you're not seeing their reality. Now, I know that whiteness and blackness and brownness and all the other isses are made up so that some people can profit off of other people. I know that. And I know it's just hatred to turn a profit. I know that. Now I have to figure out this piece. But I also know for many people a source of pride in their identity, however they choose to identify, is their right to do. And let's see if I can figure this out. Please hold. So while I hold my beliefs about people's skin color not really being a thing, I mean, yeah, obviously we have skin tone, but, you know, whiteness isn't really a thing, and blackness isn't really a thing. It's just fucking bullshit. However, it exists, and it's being used to harm people, and denying that would be, having a screw loose, because that's denying people's existence. Just like when people say there's only two genders. There's only two genders. It's biology. Well, then you're a fucking moron, because biology is not only two genders. And if you spend 5 minutes learning about something, you would realize that whether or not you believe it exists, it exists. Intersex and gender fluidity has always existed. Like this other thing that I've been seeing quite a lot of videos with people saying the same thing, almost verbatim, which is kind of, you know, people steal, people plagiarize, things go viral, people repeat. And some of that is plagiarism and lack of creativity. Some of it is the collective consciousness of truth that exists. And that is when people have said, which has long been studied and proven to be true, that homophobia is actually almost always because, I mean, either you've been religiously brainwashed, but mostly because the person themselves, homophobia stems from the idea that someone has chosen to be gay, or that they could choose another way. They could pretend to be straight, or they could just choose to be straight, or they could not act on those feelings. However, a religion that values heterosexuality more than being honest, being truthful, being true to yourself, being authentic, recognizing diversity as part of reality, that if you believed in a God, a creator, you would realize that that creator, that God, they're not making mistakes. It's it, he, she, whatever you want to pronoun you want to use for your God. These people exist and they're real. So the thing about homophobia, it's based on this false belief that somebody can choose to be gay or not. And the reason that homophobic people are so angry is because they themselves have chosen to not act out on their gay feelings. And so they feel like, you can do it too. I've chosen not to do it, so how dare you think that you can live your authentic truth? No, fuck you. I'm going to call you a sinner, motherfucker. Because I don't have the strength to do what I want to do, so I'm just going to accuse you of being a sinner because you didn't fall in line with the control and fear-mongering that the people in power, who call themselves the godly ones, are trying to force down your throat. Anyway, basically, if you're homophobic, you're fucking probably gay. Because you have chosen to suppress your gay feelings. You know, or you're just a hateful motherfucker. Okay, now I need to connect the top of the chair to the back of the chair to the seat of the chair. So I need to flip. No, I don't need to flip. I need to flip it this way. Okay, and then slide this thingy into that thingy and get it at the angle that it needs to connecty. Please hold it again. Okay, now we need T. Let's see, where's T? T and Q is over here. Okay. These are T. 4 of these screws and this. So this is a Friday night ramble, I suppose. But now, talking about Charlie Kirk, I did genuinely feel sad for a good 2 seconds when I found out that he died from the gunshot wound, because I'm a human being, and knowing that another human being was shot and murdered, you know, that's a sad thing. However, when an evil person who has spent his life spreading hatred and promoting hatred and violence and evil rhetoric and outlandish, insane beliefs that cause harm to countless millions of people, and truly, like, I really never listened to him. I just had heard about his name, and I knew that he was, you know, a right-wing MAGA kind of person. That's all I really knew. Maybe once in a while, here and there, a sound bite of. Now that I've had the unfortunate opportunity to hear some of the things that he said, I find him to be disgusting and vile. He was a truly, truly evil, hateful person who spread hatred and lies and vitriol and rhetoric that was harmful in this world. And it's not a sad thing that a terrible, terrible person is no longer here to spread his evil hatred. I wouldn't have paid for it to happen. I wouldn't have conspired for it to happen. I wouldn't have cheered it on. I wouldn't have encouraged it. I wouldn't have, it's not a celebration. It's just a cold, stark acknowledgement of the fucking reality. Just like when Donald Trump dies and any of those fucking nasty people who believe in that horrible stuff, when their time comes, however it comes about, I am not going to feel one speck of sadness. In fact, I think that the world is better off without evil, hateful people. I do. I think one of the biggest problems with the Democratic Party in general is their inability to be fucking honest. To say a thing that is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to say, yikes, that guy was a truly awful, evil, horrible person. And a man, I saw a quote today that said, oh, he was a husband and a father. Well, there's been millions of people who are husbands and fathers who have done terrible things, and they're evil, terrible people. Just because you procreated and you married someone, that alone does not make it the fact that you're dead sad. And, this whole, we have to have decorum no matter what. We have to pretend that one of the most evil people on this earth, that his death is somehow sad. If anything, his death is a perfect highlight of how his own bullshit rhetoric was so fucked up and wrong. It's not okay for just anybody to have a gun. It's not okay that there's no regulations on guns. It's not okay that there's a school shooting every single day. Is it okay that there was a school shooting the same day and within hours of Charlie Kirk being shot at a school? So he actually died in a school shooting. He was the only target and victim. And it apparently was a target attack by a right-wing, gun-loving, Republican, MAGA, Trump family person. As much as they spewed and spewed and spewed, oh, leftist crazy. Really? Do you know what a crazy leftist person is? They are a pacifist. We are all one, kumbaya, motherfuckers. They're meditating in a field, eating plants. We're not out here fucking shooting people, killing people. No, I'm against guns. I think there shouldn't be any guns. But then at the same time, I am aware of the fact that fascist places that take guns away from the citizens but maintain the guns for the people in charge, those are dangerous societies to live in. So I would advocate for regulations and, some kind of checks and all kinds of things that should be in place so that I can't get the fucking screw off the screw. Which is annoying. Why can't I unscrew the screw from the thingy to get, and that wasn't the right, hold on. Maybe I'm just supposed to screw it in like that without, I don't know, it seems so weird. Anyway, so there's a story about, there's a Buddhist teaching, because Buddhists are nonviolent for the most part. There's this teaching though, so a bodhisattva is somebody who's on their way to become a Buddha. There's not just the one Buddha, because Buddhism isn't a worship worship a god kind of thing. A Buddha is an enlightened being, a bodhisattva, someone who has learned to train their mind, their heart, and their soul to be kind, compassionate. Okay, so there's a story teaching about, there's a ship. There's 500 people on this ship, and one person is in a rage, and he wants to kill everybody on board. And so they go to the Bodhisattva and say, what should we do, oh great Buddha? Should we kill this guy? Because he wants to kill all of us. But we know that violence isn't the answer. We know that. However, he's going to kill us. So the Buddha is faced with a dilemma. Do I allow this person to kill 500 innocent people, including himself, or does he kill the man to save all the people on the ship? And not only that, but in this teaching, what he teaches is that they believe in karma. So there's something screwed up with this screw. So in this parable story, they believe that if you were to kill 500 people, that your the karmic debt of such an horrible act would be so great that his soul may be banished to suffer and reincarnate as God knows what for how many years. So the compassionate act, not just for the people whose lives he's going to save, but for the actual person that he's going to end, by saving him from the karmic debt of killing 500 innocent people. And then the answer is that in this instance, or in some rare instance such as something like that, the answer would be it's self-defense and you protect innocent people. However, that doesn't mean you're promoting this. It doesn't mean you're going out as a vigilante and you're just, randomly doing it in the name of some crazy mission that's happening in your mind alone. Okay? It's real danger. That's why I was saying, to pretend that most of the rights, the civil rights that so many people have fought and died for, didn't come at a cost of life, which included violence, and almost always violence that was perpetrated against innocent people who just wanted to live their life in peace and were treated worse than you would treat an animal. Often people say treated like a dog or treated like an animal, but who the fuck treats an animal or a dog like that except an evil, cruel psychopath? So, this video is just to say, enough with this bullshit decorum, pretending like we have to accept fucking Nazi fascism bullshit rhetoric coming out. And then when apparently somebody from their own side killed somebody else from their own side. Charlie Kirk was killed by a white, apparently straight, cisgender, privileged, middle class or more, fucking white radical guy. And if it's true, the things that I've heard, this guy was pissed because Charlie Kirk wasn't radical enough. So no, I don't believe in pretending that I give a fuck about somebody who was evil as fuck just because he's dead now. He's dead now. I ain't sad one fucking lick about it. The world is better off without evil. The world is better off without evil, people. What I can honestly say is that if it makes you uncomfortable to acknowledge that the world is better off without evil people, then you need to look in the mirror. You've seen this? Have you seen this before? Have you seen the video where a woman is wearing a shirt with something similar to this? And another woman says, well, that's offensive, isn't it? And then the woman wearing it says, offensive to who? And the lady says, to some people. And the woman wearing the shirt says, to the KKK, you mean? And then the lady's like, yeah. And bitches, I'm on the side over here, standing next to the woman wearing that shirt saying, where's my shirt like that? Because I need to get one, because who the fuck, what? You're mad? You're mad about this? You're mad about a dead KKK guy? I didn't put him in the tree. I didn't put him in the box. I didn't shoot him. I'm not the one who fucking killed him. But you want me to express sadness that a fucking horrible, evil, KKK loving motherfucker is dead? No. Absolutely. You're fucking insane. You are insane. You're out your motherfucking mind. And this is the kind of bullshit decorum. This is the decorum of a fucking insurrectionist who incited a insurrection, a coup. Instead of being put in jail where he belongs, he was put in the Oval Office. And he is trying to incite World War III. He wants people out on the street getting shot so that he has some excuse to take over even more. There are concentration camps in this country on our soil with human beings in there. And you want the good people to give a fuck about a dead Nazi? The fuck? And here it is. Big, beautiful chair. I already put my pillow on it. I'm not taking it off to show you. It has this. And it has wheels and arms. And I put it together. And now I have a new chair. Yay.